Yes, sir. Are you there?
What's up? What's up?
Man, sucking. This sucks, man. Bad. This is just bad, dude. I'm telling you. I have less than I have about 20 minutes now. How nice. Well, at least I'll get something out there. Maybe less is more today. I don't know.
Hey, man, as long as you get something out there and the quality speaks for itself.
Yeah, correct.
Some is better than none.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Of course, Lou's calling. This guy Lou calls me constantly from the East Coast. Always wants to talk. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I just don't really have anything to say. Because I got like 20 minutes, you know what I'm saying? So I don't have time for it. Anyway, we'll do it in 5 because I don't have any time for music. I got nothing, man. I got nothing. So anyway, We'll do it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Rude Show. This is Rudy Reyes. Look, I apologize. Circumstances beyond my control. I got plenty of stuff for you, and of course, I only have about 20 minutes to get it out there, so hopefully we can get it done. Welcome. Chet O'Hara does some fantastic things on Twitter for podcasts, talking NBA. We can talk NFL. We can talk anything you like, Chet, but today, what's on the hot seat is basically this Thunder team. Welcome to the show.
What's up, man? It's a pleasure to be back. Rude Dog, the big homie, man. I'm glad to be on.
Good, man. I'm glad to have you. I appreciate it. Look, everybody out there tuning in, download the app. It's from Google, iTunes. You can go to the RudeDogShow.com website in order to listen to the goodness we have for about 20 minutes, and you can tune in right now. All it takes is a click.
Fire.
We're going to shoot off like the Rockets did against the Thunder. Look, right now it's about the NBA semifinals. Rockets playing extremely well with a variety of contenders and contributors being, who's going to be the finals MVP? Well, we don't know that yet because the Rockets have not gotten to that point, but the way that they're playing would certainly stand a reason why they would get to that point. Now, let's look at it like this. Last night, Russell Westbrook and the entire Oklahoma City team looked like they were trapped on an island. They were by themselves. Their plane crashed. They had no food. They were like Gilligan. When you look...
the thing with the Houston Rockets and the OKC Thunder, the Thunder specifically, is that, I don't know if you caught this, Rude Dog, but the starting lineup for the Thunder did a great job last night. It was the bench play and the rotations that Billy Donovan used that I believe eventually cost them the lead and did them in.
Well, look, the bottom line is this, is they didn't play with the deep, because we know the Thunder team isn't as deep as they should be. They do have some depth players in them. They've shown it throughout the regular season, being able to make those inside plays, owning the paint, keeping defenders off, with Adams in the lineup defensively. But let's look at it like this from the Rockets' point of view. James Harden, 6 from 16, 2 for 7 from 3, 8 boards, 12 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. He's playing like a man possessed, almost like a poor man's Steph Curry. Now, I'm not saying that James Harden cannot be Steph Curry or that he's any less of a player, a person than Steph Curry is. But what I am saying is that when you look at what Steph Curry has done for the last few years, that he's had tons of notoriety, winning the championship in 2015, you look at James Harden and think to yourself, is he the only guy to win this series? You have guys like Gordon, 22 points, 8 from 20 for the field, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Trevor Ariza, also a man possessed, on fire, 24 of his own points to contribute, 6 boards, 6 assists, 1 block shot. And then, do you think it was hilarious to see a guy like Hilario 17 minutes to show what difference he can make by being on the hardwood?
Man, it's a situation where, for me personally, maybe I'm biased, but I always look at the role guys, the auxiliary pieces, as I call them. They show out a lot more at home. So when you have that energy and that momentum going, you're going to get high-end performances from guys who might not necessarily show up. Outside of maybe Eric Gordon and recently acquired Lou Williams, a lot of those guys in that Rocket team are not like the greatest player. But when you have a James Harden, you have that home court advantage, you have that crowd getting behind you, galvanizes you to play at a level that you might not normally play at. To the counterpoint, I looked at the stat line, and I looked at the role players for the Thunder, especially the bench players. Their entire bench, they played 6 guys off the bench last night, and all of them were in the minus category, in a plus-minus category. You cannot win a playoff game when your entire bench is a complete minus in that category. There's no way you're going to beat a team like the Rockets doing that.
No, not at all. And that's exactly what was going wrong with the Thunder. You had Westbrook on the sidelines flagging people down, talking smack, saying, look, get your heads out of the sand and go play some transition defense. What are you doing in the back part of the court? Look, I understand that he's a competitor. Westbrook has done it very, let's just say for lack of a better term, he doesn't like the media. He doesn't like discussing things with them. He doesn't even want to have the MVP conversation. Or, I mean, look, he's a part of a team that right now, collectively, they're trying to win a series. And right now, they're down 0-2. You're talking about a home field advantage, and the Rockets have been playing so well. Can they carry that momentum to Oklahoma? I think they can because of how deep their bench is, the transition defense, the rebounds, all the boards, the collective mentality and the way that the Rockets are playing right now. Because they were the second seed heading into the Western Conference semifinals, obviously the Spurs being number one for a variety of reasons. They're very, very deep, the Spurs team is. However, when you look at the Rockets, look, nobody remembers number 2. But number 2 is on display right now against a Thunder team. But the biggest question is can they carry that momentum into Oklahoma and beat the Thunder in their own court?
You know, I'm not going to go out there and jump out the window and call it a sweep. You know what I mean? But I do believe that when I look at the matchups and I look at the rosters of the two guys and the way they're being utilized, it wouldn't surprise me if the Rockets got one of those 2 games in OKC. I think it's going to be tough to go into OKC in Game 3 and get a game because I expect that crowd. We know what that Oklahoma crowd is about. We know how Westbrook feeds off of that crowd. And let's be honest, if it wasn't for a couple of questionable decisions by Billy Donovan, they might have stole Game 2. It wasn't like it was a washout in Game 2. That was a close game. They had a double-digit lead, they being the Oklahoma City Thunder. So who's to say that they can't go out there in Game 3 and take the game? So I'm not going to completely write them off, but at the same time, it would not surprise me if the Houston Rockets went into Oklahoma City and got a game this coming weekend.
Yeah, I don't either, and I'm going to flip the script here. Because Billy Donovan did not rotate the proper players in, so he thought they can gain some type of momentum by switching with the rotation. In some capacities that works, but that only works with your bench depth. That if you don't have that depth, then you're rotating players in and out, just like the Trailblazers are trying to do to the Warriors. We'll talk about them in a minute. But the way that Billy Donovan had went about it may not have been the best method to try to, stymie the Rockets defensively by preventing those boards, by preventing all those rebounds. And, at the end of the day, it's really about what you do in crunch time and setting those particular players up to really do what you need them to do, why you pay them millions of dollars, yes, millions of dollars, ladies and gentlemen, to get into positions to help their team win. This isn't a one-person sport, okay? James Harden can't do it by himself. Steph Curry can't do it by himself. James Harden can't do it by himself. Kawhi Leonard, as good as he is, he cannot do it by himself. This is a team win, and right now they're not winning. And I believe and I suspect once they go back to Oklahoma, which I believe the games are on Saturday, when you look at Oklahoma City, what method to their madness are they going to have to bring in order to sneak a win out of this Houston Rockets team?
I think first things first, to your point about playing that many players, they need to shorten the rotation. If you look at what D'Antoni's doing over with Houston, they're playing 8 players. You see, they're playing an 8-man rotation. They're getting into a certain kind of rhythm. You're going to need guys on the Oklahoma City side to get into that similar rhythm because it's going to be a rhythm game. It's going to be a game of pace. You want guys to be fully locked into this game. So I would shorten the rotation. And if I'm Russell Westbrook, I'm not taking 43 shots. He has to find a way to get his other teammates involved. Because when you're a superstar player of a Russell Westbrook level, the only way you're going to flourish in the postseason is if you have other guys who are actively involved in the offense. Passing the ball to get numbers is one thing, but having these guys feel like they're part of the whole and actually playing basketball to take some of that pressure off you when the whole defense on the opposing team is geared up to stop you is the only way you're going to win a game. So I'd like to see Westbrook be more of a snowball. Build as the game goes along. First 2 quarters, get your team involved. After the half, then you impose your will. Shorten the rotation, a small sample size of Westbrook until the second half, and I think that'll be the best recipe for success.
I agree with you. The problem is whether or not this team can really muster up, can tighten defensively, because they really need to tighten it up. Too many opportunities on the glass, on the second chance points. That's not even really a stat, but the second chance points that this Rockets team was able to get on the perimeter as well as on the inside basically tells me that there is no depth defensively. I don't care if you had Adams. Adams, I think, only had 8 points the entire game. He didn't even have a lot of rebounds either. So it's not as if he was a defensive juggernaut. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Thunder are at where they're at. Why? Because the Houston Rockets don't really have the interior big man. Okay, fine. So they did have some components early on, but they're really not, they're not showing. I mean, you look at a team like the Warriors, and Warriors have Draymond Green and hopefully Kevin Durant, as long as, you know, Steve Kerr thinks that he's healthy enough to come back in and play as a part of that rotation. I think that the Warriors are too deep, and defensively they have that where even if the Oklahoma City Thunder, which I don't think they'll escape the series against the Rockets, I think the Rockets will shoot them to the moon because of the way that they're playing. I think that if they can finesse and get the right people in the rotation, as you had stated earlier, I mean, they're really going to have to work it here, and I mean in a very big way, because this can't be a one-man show. This cannot be a one-man show. Billy Donovan, look, Donovan's going to have to ask his players this: what are you made of, and what can you contribute? Because right now, there isn't anybody else other than Russell Westbrook. I would ask them every time I call their name to the hardwood, are you ready to play? And what are you made of? Let's see what you were made of. I get them, you know, pumped up. Okay, fine. So guys like Oladipo, who've been kind of hodgepodge, hit and miss, literally. He went 1 for 2 from the line, 6 for 16 from the field, 1 steal, 7 rebounds, and only 2 assists. I don't call that a very positive defensive effort or an offensive effort by Oladipo, despite those points. And it's almost as if he appears to be a role player. We're talking about the assessment of what a role player actually is versus somebody who's leading the pack. And I think Westbrook can only do so much. Ultimately, I see them falling to the Rockets because of people not buying into what they're really trying to do, which is get, you know, basically sweep the Rockets. And at this point, based on what they're doing, based on how they're playing, based on the lack of rotation and the amount of talent they have there, and putting that all into a shaker bottle and shaking it up and say, well, this is what you have at the end, I don't think they're going to do it.
You know, I think at this point in this series, as sports fans, we're going to be watching it more for entertainment purposes. We know what the outcome will eventually be. It'll be a surprise if it goes another way. At this point, we're just going to be watching to see what kind of feats Westbrook could pull off to make this interesting. In sheer basketball terms, I'm going to call it a slight mismatch in favor of the Houston Rockets. From what we've seen in the first 2 games and what they're bringing to the table, and the fact that it doesn't look like Oklahoma City can stop them defensively, this is all about entertainment at this point. If Westbrook can summon up something special, I'm all here for it, but I don't think it's going to happen, honestly.
No, I don't either. And when you look at this Thunder team, because of the lack of big men that have very good talent, more than just Adams in there, maybe he had an off game. Everybody has an off game. I just don't think that the Thunder have enough to get guys in the right position. I don't think Billy Donovan, I think he's trying everything. He's pulling out all the stops, and unfortunately, I don't think they're going to have enough. When we talk about...
You know what I think they should do, Rude Dog? I believe that when you play D'Antoni teams, you have to really force feed tempo. In other words, try to play as slow as possible. Because in the past, I'm watching Phil Jackson, watching Pop go up against D'Antoni teams, they'd have their point guard walking up the floor. They'd run half-court sets. They find a way to disrupt that rhythm that a D'Antoni team wants to play with, and I haven't seen them try that yet. Maybe they tried that this weekend. I don't know. It's going to be hard to do considering they're playing in Oklahoma. So the biggest question is whether the Thunder can play their game at home, or you'll see the Houston Rockets basically stick it to them and go up 3-0. Either way, at the end of the day, the Rockets are shooting themselves past the Thunder, flying through tumultuous weather to get to the other side, and that is the conference finals. Let's switch gears here. We got 10 minutes, so I want to run through this Golden State Warriors team. They look fantastic without Kevin Durant. I know I said that. I did. Can you believe that? They're looking so well without Kevin Durant. Biggest question is,
Do you still need Kevin Durant? And if you do you save him for the latter part of it? And yes, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to put it on point right now. They will sweep the Trailblazers. Why? Because the Blazers have no depth. Coaching staff was trying to figure out, talking about chemistry or lack thereof, breaking out the voodoo or whatever else you want to call it, didn't quite work out by the Trailblazers. Do you see the Warriors going on, and why?
The Warriors, to me, the best thing for the Warriors to do is to sit Kevin Durant, because they're going to wax the Blazers. The Blazers never had a shot in this series. The Warriors, to me, the one thing I've noticed from them is the fact that they've taken one big lesson from their last two playoff runs, and that's how to use energy. Instead of us going hard for 48 minutes, we will pick our spots and we will raise our level to a level that you can't match. And I like that about them. That shows that they've experienced something and they're putting it to use. So I believe that you've seen it already in this game. It hasn't been like complete wire-to-wire performances. There's been massive spurts that they're destroying the Blazers with, and I believe that they're going to continue forward with that approach.
I do as well. I do as well. Why? Because the Trailblazers, even though they have McCollum, even though they have Lillard, an Oklahoma, California native, I don't think, again, we're talking about depth, we're talking about rotation, and again, coaching staff was trying to mix and match and hodgepodge. But on the other side of the token, the Golden State Warriors have not been as solid as people think they have throughout the regular season. They've been spotty at best, away from home in volatile situations such as what they're going to face against Rip City and the Portland Trailblazers. I don't know that I still give the Blazers a benefit of the doubt by getting a win at home. However, when I look at how spotty Steph Curry has been, Thompson has been, in different situations, the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, they were absolutely horrid when it came to finding their shot. There were three-point, the three-point attempts were there, but they were like 3 out of 12, 3 out of 16 for Steph Curry. And so you really got to look at the numbers and say, they don't really do favorably when they're away from home. Do you see the Trailblazers at all winning a game, maybe even this weekend at home against the Golden State Warriors, which are so good?
I think what we'll see in Portland are closer games, if anything. I don't think they win the game at all. I just think you'll see some games that'll go into the fourth quarter in great question, and then you see the championship medal of a Warriors team who know how to execute, who know how to run the offense, who know where to be when it matters. They'll close those games out. But we'll see closer, more entertaining games because you got a Dame Lillard, DJ McCollum. Those guys they're already up to the challenge, and now having that home court behind them, they'll be even more so up to the challenge. But as you said, it's about depth. And now once you get past emotion, it's about basketball. And to me, the Warriors are a better basketball team with or without Kevin Durant. And their game still travels better than most teams in the league.
No, they definitely do. And there's one key factor here. We're talking about, today being 420, people celebrating or what have you. But how about Draymond Green? See what I did there? Green. Hey. This guy is a passionate baller. He has made it known more often than not on the court that he is there to play. Matter of fact, McAdoo had to come over yesterday and pull him away from the official. Otherwise, he could have got teed up. That's how passionate this guy is. And what's more interesting is that he's in the conversation of Defensive Player of the Year. I mentioned this on the Rude Dog Show before. But when you look at Kim, and let's just say you put Kevin Durant back on the floor. Let's just say you put Sean Livingston in. You put Matt Barnes, Patrick McCaw, and you sit your starters. I want to see if Steve Kerr has a method to get these guys out on the floor without the stars to see what they can do. Why? Because the Warriors have something that no other team has in the NBA semifinals, and that is depth. Depth of player, depth of personality, and depth of athleticism to put the right guys in the right positions to win.
You know what? I just feel as though, to use a football analogy, this series is a bye for the Warriors. What they're doing right now, I think that what we'll probably figure out later down the road is the fact that maybe they needed Kevin Durant to play these games for rhythm purposes, or beyond that, this is a formality. And what we're seeing from Draymond Green is what we've been seeing when he's not volatile. He can ball. He's a Swiss Army knife for that team.
He's been doing it. He's been all season long, and I stated here on the show before, he got ejected once. this season. That's it. Yeah. Last year, he was a basket case. I think he got ejected maybe 2 or 3 times during the regular season. But look, Draymond Green is no chump. Here's my thoughts on this. I believe that Steve Kerr will use Kevin Durant. You were talking about a bye week. I think he'll use Kevin Durant slightly. And I don't mean through this series consistently. I think you're going to see him use Kevin Durant very sparingly. Why? Because more time on the floor for Kevin Durant when your knee is not good is bad. It's bad for you. It's bad for the team. Then you end up losing them out to the rest of the series and the finals and anything else they happen to run into. I think that if they mix and match and hodgepodge with McCaw and Livingston and to do the things that they have been doing, but then insert, granted, the Warriors going to the finals against the Cavaliers, that's my matchup, last year's matchup, of course. And, you know, I'm just calling it like it is. I see the Warriors being the defensive difference versus what they didn't have last year when they didn't have Kevin Durant. I had Ray Woodson on of 680 up in San Francisco. He talks a lot of Warriors and Giants. And, of course, the 49ers are headed in the draft like any other team, of course. My team's schedule's up at 5 Eastern, so I'm going to wait for that and see what that's going to hold for us. But anyway, Chet, thanks, man. I appreciate you coming on. I know it's late notice. I don't have much time left. Tell everybody where they can find you and where they can listen to all your great stuff.
On Twitter, the Twitter handle is Chet_O'Hara. There's a whole story behind that name. Don't ask, I'm not telling. Each and every Monday, Call Session Sports Report via Blog Talk Radio. I always drop the link on Twitter. Shout out to my homeboy Dust Blaze with the Above the Rim podcast. I'm contributing to that show as well. It's all about sports talk, man. This is what we do. That's where you can find me.
There you go. I know Just Blaze very well. I had him on the show yesterday. He's a good talent, and I see a lot of great things come from him. So, Chet, hey, man, thanks. I appreciate you coming on the show. We'll do it again.
No doubt. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I know this is the shortest version you'll probably ever hear of the Rude Dog Show, T-minus 20 minutes. But, hey, thanks for tuning in. This is Rudy Reyes from the Rude Dog Show on WBLZSports.com. I will see everybody next week. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you download the app because we're going to have a great show lined up for you next week. And, of course, we're going to talk the NFL draft as well. So this ought to be interesting. And, of course, the attendees are the most important part of the NFL draft process. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. This is Rudy Reyes on the Rude Dog Show, WBLZSports.com. We'll see you later.